check. Well, hey everybody, my name is Dan. We're gonna get started here with a little program. We're gonna have a song and hear from a few great candidates. So if you want to make your way over, you can grab a chair, get nice and close. We'll start with this old protest song from the 60s. It goes like this. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Yeah, you know it. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 10,000 people in the streets, singing songs and carrying signs. They mostly say hooray for our side. Think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. Think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. So much. Come on over. We'll have a little chat.
Hey everybody. My name is Rob Ryerson, and it's a real pleasure to be here this evening. I get to wear both of my hats tonight. I am the executive director of a group called Vortex that has endorsed congressional candidates around the state, including Rodney Govens, who you're going to get a chance to hear from here in a minute. And then I also am the political director of a group called Vote Common Good that travels around the country calling people of faith to use the common good as their voting criteria. You know, far too many people, when they go into the voting booth, they go into the voting booth just thinking about themselves. And we think that when we go into the voting booth, we need to be thinking not just about ourselves, but about our neighbors. We need to be thinking about the people in our communities, people that are often forgotten and marginalized. They need to be on our mind. So when we vote not just for ourselves, we vote for them as well. And so Vote Common Good travels the country in a big bus that says faith, hope, and love, supporting democracy for all on the side of it. And that bus was supposed to be here in Cabot, Arkansas tonight, but it broke down in Iowa yesterday. And so it's in the repair shop right now, and it'll be back out on the road. So we are super bummed that the whole team, including the bus, isn't here tonight, but we're excited to be here. Because we think that there's something happening in America right now that's really, really important. We think that people are waking up to a reality that just because maybe they've always voted one way, they don't have to vote that way this time around. And there's things like the lack of decency, the division, even the violence in Saline County, and other places that are causing people to realize that, you know what, I'm thinking about doing something I've never done before. I'm thinking about, voting for a Democrat like Rodney, or I'm thinking about voting for a candidate like Kamala Harris instead of Donald Trump, because the way things have gotten, they've just gone too far.
Yes, it has.
And I got to tell you, there's a lot of us that have already been there, right? Like we were there maybe in 2016, or we were there in 2020, or we're there now. And I want to encourage all of you that are like already there to be welcoming and not judging of the people that are just arriving. The important thing is that they get there, not when they get there. And because we realize that like changing who we are takes a lot of time, and it often is a really difficult thing. There's a lot of us that grew up in church that we thought that being a Christian meant we also had to be a Republican. And then things started to shift and started to change. And the work that we do at Vote Common Good is we go around the country reminding people that their religious identity and their political identity don't have to be all wound up together. And one of the people we travel around the country with is my dear friend Daniel Deitrich, who wrote a song about how he changed, and wrote a song about how he kind of went on this path. And it was a song that went viral, got him featured on Fox News for all the wrong reasons, got him fired from his job as a pastor at a church. So this is like the best kind of song possible, right? It does all that. He'll tell you a little bit more about it and then sing it for you. This is Daniel Deitrich.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, this is a Rally for Decency, and I just love that name because decency was one of the first things to be sacrificed at the altar of power when Donald Trump ran for president. I saw good people that I grew up with and learned from and trusted and believed in. Good, kind people throw their weight behind a man that looked nothing like Jesus. And that's what I wrote this song about, and maybe you can find yourself in this story as well. I grew up in your churches, Sunday morning and evening service, knelt in tears at the foot of the rugged cross. You taught me every life is sacred, feed the hungry and clothe the naked. I learned from you the highest law is love. And I believed you when you said I should trust the words in red to guide my steps through a wicked world. And I assumed you'd do the same. So imagine my dismay when I watched you lead the sheep straight to the wolves. You said to love the lost, I'm loving you. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome. and justice roll down. Oh, they started putting kids in cages, ripping mothers from their babies, and I look to you to speak on their behalf. Oh, but all I heard was silence, or worse, you justified it, singing glory, hallelujah, raise the flag. See, your fear, it turned to hatred, but you baptized it with language torn from the pages of the good book. You weaponize religion, and you wonder why I'm leaving to find Jesus on the wrong side of your walls. You said to love the lost, well, I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice roll down. Come home, come home. You're better than this. Oh, you taught me better than this. Come home, come home. You're better than this. I used to think you were better than this. Come home. Come home. Oh. Maybe I was too naive, or I just didn't want to see that there's always been a little poison in the well. Our churches sit on stolen land, a nation built by stolen hands. And we use the Bible to justify it all. Yeah, from slavery and segregation to mass incarceration. This is who we are, but not who we have to be. There's a lot of work to do to pull up the evil by the roots. But repentance has to come before there's peace. And you said to love the lost, I'm trying to love you now. You said to speak the truth, that's why I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice rule down. May love overcome and justice rule down. May love overcome and justice roll down. May love overcome and justice roll down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. That's called the Hymn for the 81%. It's about the 81% of white evangelicals that voted for Donald Trump in 2016, a number that came down in 2020 and is going to be even smaller in 2024. And so thank you, Dan, for sharing me that. It's called the Hymn for the 81%. Yeah, it's great. I've heard it thousands of times, every time. Well, maybe not thousands, hundreds of times. It still gets me. You know, this is a rally for decency, and I gotta tell you, I can't think of a more decent person to talk to us for a couple of minutes this evening, then the guy that I was really excited to vote for in 2022, the person who I cannot wait to call governor, Dr. Chris Jones. Chris.
Wow. It's hard to come after a song that touches your heart, touches your mind, touches your spirit, the way that song does. And when I think about my why, it is represented in the words that we just heard. My why is because I was raised to believe that we are all neighbors. I was raised to believe that we are all special. And I was raised to believe that we should all be working together for a better world, a better country, and a better state. And that's why I stepped up. Because when I think about what was going on at the time, it was just the opposite. And when I think about the division that we see now, it is just the opposite. But I still believe. And I'm wearing a shirt today that says believe. And I believe because I know there are folks out there that are also willing to believe, that are also willing to show up, that are also willing to work, and that know that our potential is enormous. And there are folks that know that when we come together and when we truly live out the words of the song and the words that we were raised on, it will be a magical world. And I know that we're in a moment when we can do that because things are happening nationally. I want to share briefly. VP Harris, Kamala Harris, is in Pennsylvania practicing for the debate. Well, she stopped by a small business earlier, and there's a video of her stopping by this small business, and I usually don't do this, but I have to. A reporter asked her a question about the endorsement that she received from Vice President Cheney, which is pretty impressive, by the way. And if there's ever someone who's a conservative Republican, it's Dick Cheney. And he endorsed her and said he was going to vote for her, and the reporter asked about the endorsement and the debate. And the question was, what's the one thing you really want to get across to him being Trump? Now, before I give you an answer, let me say that I think that's important because if we boiled our messages down to one thing, that tells us what's most important. It could be policy, it could be climate change, it could be economics. It tells you what's most important. And when I think about what's going on in our state and what's most important, her response actually resonates. So the question was, what's the one thing you really want to get across to Trump? And her answer is, look, it's time to turn the page on divisiveness. It's time to bring our country together and chart a new way forward. Of all the things she could say, she said it's time to end the divisiveness. And I couldn't agree more. And when I think about the divisiveness of Rick Crawford, who is now trying to, and I know your next speaker is going to talk about this, but I got to say it. He's trying to use the courts to get more of our tax dollars. And when I think about the divisiveness of supporting the January 6th insurrection, I say it's time to turn the page. And there is no better person to turn the page for Arkansas than Rodney Govens. I have been impressed with Rodney since I was on the campaign trail, and he showed up, and he spoke up, and he worked. But I'm more impressed with the way he deals with his family and community. Because you can tell a whole lot about a man by how they deal with their family and their neighbors. And when I see the care he gives to his family and neighbors, the love he gives to his family and neighbors, the commitment he gives to his family and neighbors. I know for a fact that when we get Rodney to DC in Congress, he will do the same for the entire state of Arkansas, and I couldn't be more excited to have Rodney Govens be our representative. So Rodney, please come on up, because you are the guy we need in this moment, at this time, to end the divisiveness and bring us into a new era of togetherness. Rodney Govens, y'all, let's get this man across the finish line.
I don't know how to follow that up. Just for the record, my wife is here, and just to make sure, Stacy, he said I'm a good family man. So, but thank you, Dr. Jones, thank you, Rob Ryerson, thank you to Vortex, thank you to Vote Common Good for being here, even without the tour bus. I can only imagine the travel challenges there. Thank you. And thank you to each and every person that's here. We've got people all the way from Paragould. We had somebody come all the way from Mountain View earlier today. We've got somebody from Cherokee Village here. Thank you so much for being here, and I can't thank you all enough for rallying with me, as well as my co-host, Robby Bevis, who I've got to give a special thanks to, because it is not often. Please. He deserves all the applause, because it is not often that in this political climate, you get somebody who's willing to reach across the aisle and stand up for what's right. Yeah. Dr. Jones talked about former Vice President Dick Cheney, who I served in the United States Army while he was Vice President. And you ain't lying, I would have never thought that that would be somebody who would endorse someone from a different political party. That man, woo, that is powerful in itself. It's rare that you find men who would stand up for what's right, no matter what political affiliation they have. And Robby Bevis exemplifies that. Yeah. Right is right and wrong is wrong. So Robby, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for co-sponsoring this. And thank you for being my friend. Even though you put me on blast earlier, we're gonna go ahead and let that go though. I wanted to have this rally in response to some of the hateful rhetoric that's being touted around. I know we had a book signing earlier from one of the most polarizing figures that Congress has ever seen, in Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was here in Cabot. And a lot of people, you can look at that in a lot of different ways. I look at it as a positive. I look at it as the winds of change are blowing. Because why in the world would a representative from Georgia decide to come to little old Cabot, Arkansas to rile up a Republican base? Because she knows exactly what I've been saying for the last year and a half. Everybody across all spectrums on the political side are tired of division. We're tired of arguing, and we're tired of the misinformation and the craziness that is coming out from a lot of different sides. It's time for us to come together, and that's what this exemplifies. We've got people from all across the political spectrum right here in Cabot at the rail yard. And if we can get along and have conversation, then anybody can. That means we can do our job in Congress, unlike my opponent, who seems to think that 27 bills in one session seems to be successful. I disagree. Not when Helena, West Helena had to go without water 3 times this year. Not while Elaine is stuck with the 6th worst water tower in the entire nation. I have a hard time understanding how we can't afford to pay for benefits for our veterans that served in Vietnam, because that's his excuse, while he's suing us for back paying a pay raise. Not on our watch. We're tired of it. And the winds of change are blowing, and here we are. So I thank everybody here. Thank you for coming. I asked for 3 things. 3 things. Number 1, we got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So tell all your neighbors about the phenomenal bison burgers and Kona Ice that you had here at the Rally for Decency. Make sure you support local too. Tell them about it. Tell them about how you saw a Republican and a Democrat come together at a single table with a sitting councilman, which is a nonpartisan seat, and have productive conversations about real issues. Tell them about how you've got a Democratic candidate that actually wants to serve the people and is going to ask Congress to take a pay cut, not a pay raise when he gets into office. Tell them about a Democratic candidate that you saw at the rail yard, which is 5 doors down from a congressional incumbent who ain't been in his office in 8 years. Tell them about how you came down and met somebody who advocates hard for the foster children in this state. And he's going to advocate harder for the good people of Arkansas across District 1 and across America. Tell your neighbors, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Number 2, help us with support. Let us get an ad to tell every single one of your neighbors and your family members that this incumbent is suing us for back pay and a pay raise, and he ain't even doing his job. So help us with some fundraising. Help us get the word out. Spread the message. Follow us on all the socials. Share and share alike. And the third thing, vote. Let's stop complaining and sitting on the sidelines. Let's go vote. And if you already are planning on voting, help somebody else develop a plan to vote. And if they're not registered to vote, you know what to do. We got voter registration cards all over. Let's get them registered to vote. Let's get them to the polls. Because unlike Paul Weyrich, who is the founder of the Council for National Policy, and I quote, he says, I don't want everybody to vote. Well, I do. Everybody's voice matters. No matter if you got 8 kids, no matter if you had twins through IVF like I did, and no matter if you got 10 cats sitting at home. Let's get up off the couch and let's go to the polls and let's let our voices be heard, because it is time for a change. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for listening to me ramble on. Enjoy yourselves. Let's get the music cranked up.